Bladers, this changes everything. In July 15th of 2023, Beyblade X was released, and now almost a year later, we are finally getting a new installment of a left spin bay within the X system known as Cobalt Dragon. So let's get into it. In this video, we're going to cover the new releases that are coming up for July, including the Random Booster Volume 4, as well as Cobalt Dragoon, and then the brand new three-way big Beyblade Stadium that's going to be coming out soon as well. So let's get started with the random booster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list all the bays and their parts, just say what I think about them, overall what I think their performance might be like, and what I would hope to see as well, possibly. So starting off, the prize bay for the BX35 random booster we have is Black Shell 460 Dot. So Black Shell immediately is just straight up taking full inspiration off of Drasil from the old, like the OG generation of Beyblade. Now, I didn't grow up with that generation, but if I could have them, I would. I just don't want to spend $300+ for a starter set. With that being said, it's very much more similar to, in my opinion, the HMS version of Drasil more than it is to like the plastic predecessors, but that's just because they're both made of metal. If we take a look at the layer here, if I edit it just like somewhere in this part of my thing, so if you take a look at the layer, you can kind of see it has like the 8 points on the side, but they're very rounded off, so there's no big gaps. So I'm not expecting huge recoil, but more like small little impacts. Just small little impacts every time a bay hits it, kind of like a barrage attack type of thing. And yeah, but with that being said, it looks like a really tanky bay. I don't know what it is from the side, if it's gonna be like thick or if it's gonna be like thin. I'm assuming because it's like the downward slope thing, they might make it thin, but I could be totally wrong about this. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Based off of what I'm seeing, I'm hoping that the layer itself is like a heavier layer, something like a Wizard Rod, which we'll get to later. But like Wizard Rod, if you've seen, that thing is a heavy layer and it's super round. It's great for defense and stamina. I think it's pretty much, it's like a meta layer at this point. But yeah, I'm really hoping for that so that it actually could be very sturdy. I think a lot of us can agree that the defense types are kind of light in comparison to what you would expect from a defense type. But I mean, some of that comes to some advantage. Like if we take Night Lance, for example, its layer is really good for offensive purposes. So it's great for like a counterattack stamina type of combo, but you know, that's like the only example I can really come up with. That being said, the next part for this bay is 460, which in my opinion, we have seen so many 460s at this point, it's kind of like redundant now. Also, I don't really like the four-sided thing, but because it's the 60mm height, it might still be fine, just because being lower to the ground will help it a lot more than if it was like a 480 for bursting. And because of the way that the layer itself is shaped, like it's like the armor plating up top, like a higher bay or like the same level bay is kind of just going to hit the top, which should help it just kind of stay its ground in a way. But it depends, because if it's coming off of the extreme rail, that could just be completely just throw everything I said out the window. It's just going to get smashed right out. But that will also determine that'll also just be determined based off of the weight of the bay. But yeah, if anything, I'd probably just, I'd just switch that to a 560 just immediately. That's probably my favorite disc outside of 3 and 9 in the 60mm. I like some of the 70mm as well, but there's just a small variance there. Then next coming up, we have the new bit known as Dot. I'll be honest, it's a really dumb name for what it is, but it's taking inspiration from Jog Ball from the Metal Fight series, which honestly, Jog is also a really dumb name, so I'll take Dot over Jog any day. Essentially what it is, it's like a ball. I guess it's more like if I look at it, it's kind of more either ball or cone shaped, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the ball. It's like a little ball, and then you have the spikes coming out for it. I don't necessarily know what the spikes are supposed to do for this Beyblade, because I can't even like go off of what Jog Ball did, because I never had Rock Scorpio. I think that's one of the few Metal Fights that I still don't have. Damn, I should probably go find a way to get that one now. But anyway, It's gonna have those spikes at the bottom right there. So I don't know if maybe like if they wear down over time, it changes the performance up a little bit, kind of like variable from burst or evolution or whatever bit had those spiky things, but it's not gonna be made of rubber, so I doubt that's gonna be the case. But yeah, that will be the dot performance tip, and that's a brand new part. So we're getting two brand new parts in the prize bay, being the layer and the bit itself. So with that being said, that's pretty much the Drasil. I'm pretty excited for it because it's a very unique looking defense type. It actually looks like a very chunky, well, from the top, it looks like a very chunky tank. Like you see it, it's like you see it's like full metal almost, except for the big beast, which I believe this thing's like, yeah, it's like a turtle. It's pretty much a turtle. It's like a green Blastoise is what that thing looks like to me. But yeah, that is the prize bay. And then going up next, we have the next potential pull of this random booster, which is a recolor of Black Shell. So this is Black Shell 980 and Ball. This is a yellow color Black Shell coming with 980, which is also a disc that I don't really like. I mean, I like the three-sided 9-side thing because it's just aggressive, but it's 80, so you know, take that as you will. Ball, standard tip, not much to say there. It was the first stamina type bit release that we've had. It's still pretty good. I mean, I'm sure there are better alternatives now, but it still stands the test of time in some ways, but not much here and there. From there, we get Unicorn Sting 370 and a recolor of Dot. So I don't know what the recolors of these parts are. I haven't seen them. I just know what they'll kind of look like. So Unicorn Sting, this one is coming in a reddish orange color, which I think is pretty cool. Unicorn Sting itself isn't like a great layer, but it's okay. It's kind of just, it's fun to see how the aggressive side and the smooth side interact when hitting a Beyblade or getting hit by a Beyblade. So that's like a fun part there. And then with that, you're getting the 160 ratchet, which, oh, sorry, not 160, that's the Wizard Rod later on. We're getting 370 ratchet, that's the one. So the 370 is also one of my new favorite type of discs to play with, just because it's like the perfect middle ground if you need like just a little bit of a taller height, but you don't want to get too down. So for anything that needs to do like the type of attacks that like slam into the ground type of thing, like Hell's Hammer, for example, if you're doing an attack type combo on that, that's one of my favorite things, but I don't think it's like a meta piece. It's just kind of I just personally have a lot of fun with it and trying to experiment with it just on my own time. And with that, we get a recolor of Dot. So I've already talked about the Dot before. Dot is pretty much just, you know, the spike bit and all that. So, you know, you get to pull Dot, so there's that. Now with this coming up, we now have Wizard Rod 160 and Rush. So Wizard Rod, I've mentioned it before, really good pull. It's a heavy layer, super thick on the sides and very round. That makes it essentially just it's basically a tank right now as far as the Beyblade meta is concerned for X. And we getting a recolor of 160. That's really good because those one hit KOs will be super, super nice to have. I believe we got no, we don't have a recolor of Dron Buster. Never mind, forget what I said there. Yeah, we don't have a recolor of Dron Buster, but whenever we ever do get a recolor of it, just in some random booster, it would be great to have that 160 to pair up with it as well. And then from there, that 160, we now have Rush, which is really good because this is now another way to acquire Rush, because Rush was released with the Drawn Dagger set. That thing is just like, is it like the triple booster pack? Yeah, it was Drawn Buster, like either 3 or 4 other Beyblades in the box. Hold on, let me just double check that. Yeah, it was the booster set that had like 3 other Beyblades, so like 4 bays in total. So that's a pretty pricey, that's a pretty huge price tag behind just one bit. Now it's simpler, you just pull it and you get Rush. Depending on where you are, of course, the prices vary. But that being said, Rush, it's a pretty good bit. It's very easy to control and somewhat aggressive. It's really good for bays that you want to be able to kind of hard launch, but you don't want them to fly out of the stadium like every other bit in Beyblade X when it comes to attack types, because, oh man, that gets really annoying. So yeah, and now finally from this, After Wizard Rod, we have another one, Phoenix Wing 580 and Hexa. Now that one is really good because we get a recolor of Phoenix Wing, and this is like a blue Phoenix Wing, but the metal is not painted, which for some people like collectors, which I won't say like I'm an aggressive collector, but like I do collect it, the non-painted Phoenix Wing to me is really good because I always like hate having to use Phoenix Wing whenever I do, because I'm just like, I don't want the paint to scuff, but the paint is going to scuff. Now, I don't have to worry about that. I can just put this Phoenix Wing on and be like, all right, it's fine. It's the metal color, let's go. So yeah, with Phoenix Wing, you're getting 580, which 5 sides, really good, 80 millimeters, half and half, double-edged sword, but the 5-sided discs to me are really, really good, 560 being like the best one in my opinion. And then Hexa, which I don't think is a very good bit, but it's very fun to use. For me, I really like the sound it makes when it grinds on that edge and then goes aggressive. It can kind of do like what the new Weiss Tiger can do. I don't have that bay yet, but I know it has the new bit, which can kind of change performances depending on if it's on the tip or if it's on the flat side, or you know, gear point and point, pretty much the same thing. They can kind of change performances depending on the angle, but they're more built to do that. But when Hexa does it, it has a really good sound, in my opinion. It's not exactly like Destroy from Burst that has like the screaming sound, but it kind of screams in some way, shape, or form. And then for the final pull of this random booster, we have Viper Tail 570 Dot. So this is probably the weakest pull in this release because it's a Viper Tail, which is a pretty old bay, and then Dot is like, well, actually Dot's the strong point because you get another recolor of Dot. But yeah, other than that, Viper Tail and 570, which 570, all right, that's pretty good, but it's a Viper Tail, so like, out of all of these, why would you want that one specifically? So overall, with this random booster, honestly, this is a pretty strong random booster as far as pull value is concerned outside of the prize bay, because you have a Wizard Rod, you have a Phoenix Wing, and then depending on if you're like, if you are more on the casual side, you got that Unicorn Sting, which is a really nice layer to have as far as just the fun factor is concerned. The only weak point here being in the layer wise is just Viper Tail. As far as the bits and the other parts are concerned, I would say the 980 with the ball is probably the only other weak point in this, but that you still get the recolor of the black shell layer, so it's not too bad. But the best part is the Wizard Rod and the Phoenix Wing. That is like the strongest pulls other than the prize bay, in my opinion. So yeah, that is the random booster. This is releasing, I believe, it's like July 13th to 15th, somewhere in that range. I don't know the exact date. I just know I put the thing on pre-order immediately when I saw it. But yeah, so with that, we have the random booster completed, and then moving on, we have what is the most exciting release in this month. That is Cobalt Dragoon. So Cobalt Dragoon is your Lightning El Drago. It is your Luinor, or your Longinus of this generation. Dragoon is the left spin Beyblade for this generation, and it does take inspiration in some ways to previous generation bays. For example, its layer, it is very much similar to the Dragoon from the original series. The overall shape of it, when you take a look at the thing, it's got like the big prominent-ish blades, but it has this, I don't know, to me it's like that very square like look, like a very aggressive squarish look. It's kind of weird to describe it, but like you can kind of see it. But yeah, and I mean, it literally is called Dragoon. Like that layer has big shoes to fill, having a name like Dragoon in the thing. So with Cobalt Dragoon, I am hoping that it is a heavier attack layer, just so it can kind of compete with the heavy attack right spin layers like Drawn Buster and Phoenix Wing. Based off the shape alone, I feel like Drawn Buster probably would hit harder just off of pure power is concerned, but because this is a left spin and they're gonna cancel each other out with every single hit, it shouldn't be like too much of an impact force after getting like a full blast out of it. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking right here. And then with its disc, we have 260, which 260 it's actually very easy to understand, and like It's very easy to kind of like figure out what it is. It's just a 60mm with 2 sides, but they have 2 different gimmicks depending on the direction of spin. So what is in the left rotation side, the little things that are like pointing out, the little wingtips are more like hammers, so they have more attack power. And then if it's spinning in the right rotation side, it's like more defensive. But being said, that's marketing. It very well is probably not going to do anything because the majority of Beyblades are just going to hit layer per layer unless you can uppercut with maybe a shark edge, which that's very much possible. So yeah, that is the 260 ratchet, and then from there we have the new bit known as Cyclone. Cyclone is spiral. It is the left flat from Medio El Drago. It's literally just that. It is flat, but with now the teeth thing, and it digs into the stadium and it will speed up to some extent. Now that being said, because it's plastic, I don't think it will speed up because that would be more like jolt, and it doesn't have rubber to be jolt. But that also being said, I do not think its stamina is going to be that good because of its shape. I think purely stamina-wise, flat might be the better way to go, or, well, no, not low flat. I think low flat probably would have lower stamina, but I think flat would be the better way to go, but because it's a left spin bay, it could just equalize. So there's that to consider right there. Oh, and one more thing, with this release, we do get a new launcher with the Dragoon. So it will be a left spin string launcher. I hope later in the future we get a left spin ripcord launcher, just for, like, in my case, the higher spin power I get out of that. And then maybe just a new grip that can match the launcher's colors, because you have a light blue launcher here that is matching the Beyblade itself. Moving forward, we have the bigger Beyblade X Stadium. This is it's a super wide stadium. I don't think it's like overall big. It's like just in the width wise, it's much bigger. It's like got 3 prominent ends for 3 bladers to attack at or to launch at. So you have like the 2 sides where the loops of the rails kind of meet. So there'll be like 2 people down there. And then I'm assuming the 3rd person is up above where you see like the little purple divot that goes into the, like, almost what is like a back wall type of thing of the stadium. So that's really cool. I wonder, based off of that stadium, what the performance is going to be like and how mandatory it might be to have 3 bladers to fight in that stadium. I imagine because you have so much more room, I feel like the bays would have, or at least the attack type bays, the ones that can, any of the bays that can like hit the extreme line more consistently, would have more room to speed up, or more room to speed up, so they might hit harder once exiting the extreme line, but that could also be at a tremendous cost to stamina, so battles could end faster. That's just my opinion. We'll see where that goes. I am glad to see this though, because like unlike the previous series, well, I guess the previous series we did get a new stadium. I remember the new one from Sparking. And then also in like season 1 of Burst, there was that one stadium with the spikes, which really made no sense to me, but it existed. But yeah, we're getting a new stadium, and this is just a bigger version of the X Stadium. Now, when I look at it though, there's what looks like the regular circle that's inside where the bays will spin around at, but then there's like a little divot, like a little small wall, and then there's like the outside portion. And I'm worried about that outside portion just being like a flat area, because if a Beyblade gets stuck up there, they're kind of screwed. Like, depending on the bay, if it's a stamina type or a defense type, it's fine. If it's a stamina type, it's definitely fine. But if it's an attack type that gets stuck up there, that's like huge stamina loss in that area, assuming it's a perfectly flat area. If it's got a little bit of a slope that can kind of bring it down, then it should be fine. I don't know why they made it like that. Maybe it's just because of the overall shape. It's like this weird Hello Kitty face. Yeah, it's like a little Hello Kitty face when you look at it. Maybe it's just because of that. But I'm hoping that area is more sloped and not perfectly flat. That's my only worry about this stadium. Oh, and before I end this video, just to leave off, there is another thing that is coming out soon for Beyblade X, and that is a Blackdronzer S. It's a recolor of the Dronzer that we got from the Beyblade X system, but it's now in the black color. But I believe this is a very limited type of Beyblade to get. You only can get this in like one or like some select few areas. I don't know if it's a select few areas or there's only one area in Japan you can get it, but there is that Beyblade, which it's a black recolor because from the original series, I believe the character that owned this Bey, I don't know his name because I never watched it, became like corrupted, or he became like the bad guy, and then his Beyblade turned black and he was able to take, like, he could steal the big beasts from other Beyblades, and this is just paying, or this is kind of just like, you know, nostalgia to that Beyblade, that series, and then that specific Bey. So that's why this recolor is being made. But yeah, just thought I'd add that in there. And then with that, that is the end of this video. Please, yeah, that'll be the end of this video. So yeah, please let me know your thoughts, what you guys think. Are you guys gonna pick up any of these Beys? What are you gonna do? I know maybe the random booster is not the easiest thing to acquire for other people, for everyone, but if you can, you know, get it if you can, if you got that. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, the usual YouTube things, and I will see you guys in the next video.